Begin with the light, not sunlight. There is no sun here. The glow rises from below, from a lake that burns without consuming, and it throws its red across a colonnade so long the eye gives up before it ends. Columns stand in ranks, each one taller than a cathedral, each one identical, marching into a darkness that has no far wall. Above them, the sky is bruised, smoke and ember and a black that presses down like a lid. On a broad stair at the left, a single figure stands with one arm raised. Below him on the terrace, a crowd. You can barely see them. They are brushstrokes the size of grains of rice. And spanning the whole composition, holding it together, is a bridge of fire and a city that should not exist, built in a single night, out of nothing, by beings who had just lost everything. That is the surface. Now the interior. The first thing power builds is never a home. It is a measurement. Imagine the architect. He is not a villain. He is competent, which is more dangerous. He has been summoned to a plain of ash and told to raise a capital before morning. He does not ask why. He asks for the length of the standard cubit, and when he is told there is none, he invents one. And in that moment, the plain stops being wilderness and becomes territory. Everything after follows from that single decision. The colonnade is not decoration. It is the cubit, repeated 10,000 times until repetition becomes law. This is what Martin understood and what makes the painting more than spectacle. He did not paint chaos. He painted order, obsessive, symmetrical, immaculate order, and placed it in hell. The horror of Pandemonium is not that it is monstrous. It is that it is well designed. The architecture is a system, and a system's first function is to make itself feel inevitable. Stand inside a colonnade long enough, and you will stop asking who built it. You will begin to believe it grew there. Every empire begins with an architect who knows how to make a decision look like a landscape. But architecture alone is inert. Stone does not obey. People do. Look again at the terrace. Those specks are the whole point. Martin could have painted 20 individuals with faces and grievances. Instead, he painted a mass, deliberately, at a scale where identity dissolves. This is not laziness. This is the most honest thing in the picture. Imagine one of them. A torchbearer, somewhere in the 7th rank. He has been standing for hours. He does not know what is being announced, only that he is expected to be present when it is. He has learned the small arts of the assembled, how to keep his face neutral, how to raise his arm a half second after the arms around him rise, so that if the gesture proves wrong, he can claim he was carried. He is not a coward. He is doing arithmetic. He knows he is one of 100,000, and he knows that 100,000 is a number that only exists if everyone agrees to be counted. Here is the quiet mathematics of every regime. The ruler on the stair has no power whatsoever. What he has is the correct guess about what the torchbearer will do. Authority is not a substance. It is a prediction that keeps coming true. And it keeps coming true because each person in the crowd looks at the crowd and finds it enormous and finds themselves small and concludes reasonably that today is not the day. Martin painted the smallness of those figures not to insult them, but to show us the exact mechanism by which the columns stay standing. Now the figure on the stair. Elevation is a trap, disguised as a reward. From where he stands, he can see the entire assembly. And this is precisely the problem. He can see them, and he cannot see any of them. Faces have become texture. He has traded knowledge for oversight. Consider what a life like that does to a mind. He can no longer receive an honest sentence. Every report that reaches him has passed through 4 people who understand that their survival depends on its tone. Praise arrives constantly and is therefore worthless. And its worthlessness is itself unbearable because he cannot stop needing it. He begins to test people, small, deniable tests, and the intelligent ones pass. And passing means they are skilled at concealment, which proves they cannot be trusted. So he promotes the mediocre who are legible, and the walls of his competence close in by a hand's width each year. He sleeps badly. He has begun to hear the silence after his own speeches as a kind of verdict. He tells himself the isolation is the cost of the work. It is not. It is the work. Absolute authority does not corrupt a man so much as it starves him of contradiction, of friction, of the ordinary daily correction that keeps a person in contact with the world. He is standing at the highest point in the empire, and he is the only person in it who does not know what is happening. Martin gives him the whole light of the composition. He also gives him no one to turn to. And beneath all of it, the lake. This is the detail that turns the painting from a scene into a judgment. The city is built above fire, not near it, not threatened by it, above it, resting on it, drawing its beauty from it. The red that makes the colonnade magnificent is the same red that will eventually take it. The illumination and the destruction are the same event, separated only by time. Empires do not usually die of invasion. They die of the thing that made them. The energy that raises the columns in a single night is the energy that cannot then be switched off. The ambition that conquers cannot learn to stop conquering. The machinery built to answer a crisis outlives the crisis and goes looking for another. Hubris is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud and survivable. Hubris is the structural assumption that the conditions of your rise will hold forever. And around it all, that black sky, indifferent, unimpressed, older than the argument, nothing in the heavens is watching. No cosmic verdict is being delivered. The universe simply does not attend. And this is the coldest note Martin sounds. The collapse, when it comes, will not be a punishment. It will be weather. Martin painted this in 1841 in a London choked with furnace smoke at the beginning of the greatest empire the world had yet assembled. A nation building colonnades and railways and certainties, entirely convinced it was the permanent shape of the future. He gave that confidence a portrait and set it in hell, and the empire hung it on the wall and admired the craftsmanship. That is the pattern. Power never recognizes itself in the mirror because power experiences itself from the inside as responsibility, as competence, as the reasonable management of necessary things. Nobody standing on the stair believes they are standing on the stair. The columns are still going up somewhere. They are always going up, and they are always, without exception, built above the fire.